Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing really well. So we have the lights turned low in the library today, and I'm sitting in front of my brand new electric fireplace that I put together a few weeks ago. As most of you know, I've been doing some renovations in the library and in my house in general, and making everything very cozy and very gothic, so I can have a place at home that's really feeling like my sanctuary. So we've got our skulls, we've got our fire, we've got candles lit, and I'm going to be going through my dark Yuletide plans. I am so excited to do this because last year, and I believe the year before, I did like a haunted holidays read and watch list, and you guys seem to really enjoy it. You all know probably, if you've been on my channel before, that I don't celebrate Christmas, but we are very much a Yuletide family, and things are very subdued. It's very relaxing and very dark and spooky for me and my family this time of year. We love to just eat really good food and watch and read a lot of books that have to do with gothic atmosphere, ghosts, hauntings, haunted houses, all of those kinds of things. And I am taking a full 2 weeks. I think it's actually a little bit more than 2 weeks off from work this year, which I don't think I've ever really taken a full 2 weeks off. So I'm so excited to share my reading plans with you today. So my pile of possibilities for December. So I will be starting my pile of possibilities tomorrow, which is the day you're seeing this, on November 30th. And I will be doing a couple of more videos with my watch list as well. Again, we wanted all of the dark and gothic and spooky. It really does suit us this time of year to watch, you know, some more slow burns, some more haunted houses. And you all know that I crave women running down staircases in mansions with their flowing white nightgowns holding onto a candelabra. So here we go. I'm going to jump right into my pile of possibilities. And as you guys know, if you've been on my channel before, I don't really do TBRs, but for certain seasons I will do piles of possibilities, things that, you know, are really kind of fitting my mood and things that I can pull from. I might read these books, I might read something else, I might read nothing at all. We don't really know. And I've been in like a 2-year-long reading slump, but I'm really starting to get that itch to read more. And I switched my reading plans kind of from what I had planned in September and October to reading more gothic books, and it's been so beneficial for me in my reading, so I wanted to continue that. So for my dark Yuletide pile of possibilities, like I said, it's going to be all ghosts and gothic and haunted houses and all the things that are dark and spooky. And so I do have choices in all 3 of my personal mediums. I do like to change up my mediums in reading, especially when I'm in my reading slump. And like I said, it has been a really long one. Like, this is the least amount of books in a year that I've read since I came out of my decade-long reading slump in 2020. And so I'm really hoping that this is going to fulfill all my hopes and dreams for finishing out 2025 with a bang. So I do have something in all 3 of my mediums. So starting off with my physical TBR, so all my physical books that I would like to read, you know, it's really helped me. I got this little desk that I can put on the couch. Like, we have a recliner, like a reclining kind of love seat sort of thing, and I put that on with my book light, and it's just perfect. And so I've been reading a lot more of my physical collection this year, and stay tuned. Probably in a couple of weeks I will be doing my end of 2025 plans and my 2026 goals for the channel and for my reading. So I've really been happy that this has helped me with my picking up more books from my physical TBR. And also it's really helpful for my hands and wrists. I do have tendonitis, so I find holding up books really hard. And we do like to have our house mainly dark and spooky, and candles and gas lamps and all of that kind of thing. So having my book light on a desk, and it kind of like inclines a little bit, it's been just perfect. So I've been wanting to pick up this one for some time now. So this is The English Ghost by Peter Ackroyd, and it does have a foreword by Dan Aykroyd. So this is a nonfiction book that I wanted to put on my list. I want to read more off of my ghosty shelf in 2026, but again, I'll get into my goals in another video. But I've been dying to pick up this book, and I did a couple of months ago to go to a Victorian style seance, so I've been really into like spiritual mediumship and stuff from that era. And I've also recently, kind of semi-recently, read some really great books that have to do with that too. So I wanted to pick this one up. Well, first of all, it's a really beautiful book. hardcover, and it does have like some gold font up on the top there. So on the back here it says, "A little after I got into bed, I heard something walk about the room." And so this is definitely going to have all of the dark and spooky feelings that I'm wanting during this time of year. So just quickly from the back, it says, "The English, Peter Ackroyd tells us in this fascinating collection, see more ghosts than any other nation. Each region has its own particular spirits, from the Celtic ghost of Cornwall to the Dobbies and Boggarts of the north. Some speak and some are silent. Some smell of old leather, others of fragrant time. From medieval times to today, stories have been told and apparitions seen, ghosts who avenge injustice, souls who long for peace, spooks who just want to have fun." So that, I mean, is just... Sorry, I'm reading with a flashlight. So that absolutely just encompasses everything that I want to be feeling during my dark Yuletide period. So I'm super, super excited to finally pick this one up. And next on my TBR, we have this one. This is called Shadow House, and I tried to pick this one up once before. Don't think it was this year, it might have been last year, and I had to put it aside because it wasn't what I wanted to be reading at the time, and I believe I had a really, really big TBR at the time. So this is by Dan Poblocki, and it's called Shadow House: The Gathering. And I'm going to put in a little bit of B-roll here because I want you to see the beautiful interior of the book. So we do have on the front, you can see this ghostly face kind of in a mirror here. I've been looking for a vintage mirror like this for my house recently. Haven't found one that I like, but you know, eventually I will get it. And then when you open it up, it has this gorgeous photo. Like, look at the wallpaper in the back here, and you have this spooky girl with this hand reaching out for her. And as soon as I opened this book, you know, I don't think I really looked at the front pages really closely in this one before, but it's just beautiful. And then when you switch over to the back, it says, "Enter Shadow House if you dare. Step into ghost stories where the choices you make determine your fate. Can you escape?" So it says, "Come play with us." And it has a picture of this beautiful Gothic sort of Victorian home in the background, or castle, I guess you would probably call it. But this is an absolutely gorgeous looking book. So I'll just read you a little bit from the back. It says, "Shadow House is calling you. Some houses are more than just haunted. They're hungry. Dash, Dylan, Poppy, Marcus, and Azumi don't know this at first. They think they've been summoned to Shadow House for innocent reasons. But there's nothing innocent about Shadow House. Something within its walls is wickedly wrong. Nothing and nobody can be trusted. Hallways move, doors vanish, ghosts appear, and children disappear. And the way out, that's disappeared too." So that sounds fantastic. So like you can tell this is kind of like a middle grade sort of spooky book, and it's definitely fulfilling everything that I want right now. Also part of the physical books that I would like to pick up, I've had this book forever, The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell, and I've read several of Laura Purcell's other books and really, really enjoyed them, but this is her most popular and what everybody rants and raves about, and I still haven't picked it up. So, of course, I'm not going to read too much into this because most people who watch my channel have either read it or they know about it. But Laura Purcell's writing, the way she describes atmosphere and the way she pulls at my heartstrings, I know that this is going to be a perfect fit for this time of year for what I'm looking for. And two that you saw in my Haunted Holidays pile of possibilities last year, so it's going back in for Dark Yuletide this year, are these two. So I have The Old Magic of Christmas, which really talks about a lot of the pagan roots and stuff like that of Christmas time. And I also have this one, the Valancourt Book of Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories. So the only thing wrong with this book, and I think I talked about it last year, was that the font is really, really small. So we'll see how I do with that, but I'm hoping with my setup that I have now in our living room, it'll be a little bit easier to read. But if you don't know this about me, I love doing short stories this time of year because, you know, it's such a busy time, even for us. You know, we like to hunker down and everything and not really do much over the holidays, but, you know, there's still visiting and stuff that goes on, and, you know, making meals and things that we don't typically eat in other times of the year. But I definitely did want to make sure to fulfill my need for short ghost stories this time of year, and there's a couple, actually several, that are on my my audiobook list as well that kind of fit in with these vibes. Okay, so getting into my ebooks, the first one that I wanted to put on here is the next in the series that I'm currently reading. So this is Hidden Haunts Ireland. Currently I'm reading Hidden Haunts England right now, and I've read Hidden Haunts Scotland previously. And this is by the creator of Edinburgh here on YouTube, and he has a whole series of books out now, and I just love them because they go into a lot of history of the places that are haunted. So he doesn't just talk about the ghosts and the hauntings and all of that. He talks a lot about the history. And if you haven't checked out the Edinburgh page, please do. We love putting him on, especially on weeknights. When I come home, I'm really stressed out and I need to decompress. I love putting his show on, and his books are just as good. So I think Hidden Haunts Scotland I gave a full 5 stars to, and the England one that I'm reading now is well onto its 5-star review. So this one I'm hoping is going to be just as good. And of course, Ireland is at my core. It's somewhere that I've wanted to visit for a really, really long time. So I'm really excited to learn about some of the haunted places over there. So if I do end up getting to the UK someday, I know the places that I'll want to visit. And next up, I have a bunch of books that I actually got with an Amazon gift card last Yuletide, and I still haven't picked them up. So the first is The Wicked Cometh by Laura Carlin, and this sounded so good, and like I said, I haven't gotten to it, but these that are sitting on my Kindle right now, I'm so excited to read these at night when I'm lying in bed. My Kindle is usually reserved for nighttime reading. I find I can read off my Kindle without my glasses, and because I have the dark mode, it doesn't bother my eyes. My eyes are extremely strained right now as it is. I've had a very, very hard week at work, so I find reading on my Kindle is great for that. So just getting into a little bit of the synopsis from the back of the book. The year is 1831. Down the murky alleyways of London, acts of unspeakable wickedness are taking place, and no one is willing to speak out on behalf of the city's vulnerable poor as they disappear from the streets. Out of the shadows comes Hester White, a bright young woman who is desperate to escape the slums by any means possible. When Hester is thrust into the world of the aristocratic Brock family, she leaps at the chance to improve her station in life under the tutelage of the fiercely intelligent and mysterious Rebecca Brock. But whispers from her past slowly begin to poison her new life, and both she and Rebecca are lured into the most sinister investigations. So that sounds great, and there's actually another book on my TBR. I think I have the audiobook that's kind of like a Victorian mystery. So if these two women are getting into like doing investigations and stuff, that will really be a good tie-in with the other one. And next up we have The Woman in the Attic by Emily Hiptich, and this takes place in my home province of Newfoundland. So it's a Gothic story that takes place in Newfoundland, and that was just everything that I needed to know about this book. I'm so super excited. I can't believe that I've had it for a year and I just haven't picked it up. So I thought this was the perfect occasion. So just quickly from the back. On the coast of rural Newfoundland, Hannah Fitzgerald's mother has lived her life in near total isolation. When Hannah returns to the lonely Saltbox house to prepare her mother for the transition into assisted living, her childhood home is anything but welcoming. Dilapidated from years of hoarding and neglect, the walls are crumbling, leaving Hannah's wellness crumbling along with them. While packing her mother's things, Hannah discovers a trapdoor in the house's attic. The one she has believed for most of her life has been permanently sealed shut. Blinded by curiosity, Hannah enters the attic and finds a mysterious bedroom riddled with dark secrets. Desperate to know more, Hannah begins to scramble for answers, combing the house for clues that may lead to the truth. So that sounds fantastic. And again, kind of this mystery wound into it. Not really into like investigative stuff, but I do really love a good Gothic mystery. And I'm really hoping to see what aspects of Newfoundland folklore and life and history and everything that the author has kind of wound it into the story as well. And next up on my list of ebooks for this month, I have The Haunting of Whitehall Manor by L.V. Pines. So this is the first in a series, the Towery Family #1. So just quickly from the back. From best-selling horror author L.V. Pines comes a Gothic suspense story that tells the terrifying tale of one woman's descent into madness. 33-year-old Anne Towery is a woman who knows little about herself and even less about her family. Sent away from Whitehall Manor when she was only 10 years old, Anne struggles to make sense of her life. When she receives an urgent phone call from a Dr. Cornish informing her that her mother, Seraphine, has gone missing, Anne returns to her childhood home in an attempt to figure out what went wrong. And the last thing I'll say is that arriving at Whitehall Manor changes everything for Anne. So again, we have kind of, family secrets and all of this kind of thing wrapped into an old English manor, so it's everything that I'm looking for. So you'll see a lot of repetitiveness in the kind of books that I'm looking for right now, but I'm very much a mood reader, and if this is what's going to fulfill my reading goals, but also my reading fulfillment and enjoyment, then I'm definitely going to be sticking with the same kinds of reads for the entire Yuletide season. And next up we have The Winter Garden by Alexander Bell. And I don't know, can somebody tell me if this is the same Alex Bell that wrote the Frozen Charlotte series? I'm assuming not, because they would typically go by the same name. But let me know if it's the same person. So from the back, and just look at this cover art. This cover art is absolutely beautiful, and it definitely has all the winter vibes here. So it says, "Welcome to the Winter Gardens of Half Moon House. Please do not mishandle the exhibits. The owners accept no liability for any events that occur, magical or otherwise." The Winter Garden opens at the stroke of midnight, with no great fanfare. After all, this is a time when all virtuous folk should be in bed. But for the few curious souls that brave the opening of its gates, what enchantments await! There is all manner of strange and spectacular flora and fauna collected on her travels by the scandalous Lady Beatrice Stillwell, and exhibited for the delight of paying customers. By flickering lamplight, visitors can discover magic fish, spectacular ghost butterflies, and a tiger made of stars. So really, that's all I needed to know. Sorry, I keep having to take my glasses off because I find it hard reading on my phone with my glasses on. But that sounds fantastic. And like I said, the cover of this book just has all the feels of kind of that dark winter, magical, sort of fantastical feel. And I've heard so much about this one, but I still haven't picked it up myself. Like I said, I've had the books on this ebook list for about a year, and it just hasn't made its way into my TBR. I kind of wish they had, because it seems like this is the kind of feels that I've been looking for quite a while, and the type of books that I've been getting most enjoyment out of. So super excited about this one. So this is the one that I was talking about that kind of ties in with the Victorian investigations from the previous book that I talked about. So this is Murder by Lamplight by Beatrice McDonough. And just very quickly from the back, just the first paragraph, because the synopsis is quite long. November 1866. The grisly murder site in London's East End is thronged with onlookers. None of them expect the calmly efficient young woman among them to be a medical doctor arrived to examine the corpse. Inspector Richard Tennant, overseeing the investigation at first, makes no effort to disguise his skepticism. But Dr. Julia Lewis is accustomed to such condescension. So I wanted to stop there. So basically we have a woman medical doctor who is examining and participating in an investigation in 1866 in London. So that's all I needed to know. It sounded fantastic, and I can't wait to read this one. And I want to make sure that I did say that we've moved on to audiobooks now. So this last one, Murder by Lamplight, is an audiobook. And then this one, The Shadow Key by Susan Stokes Chapman. So the cover on this one is fantastic. And I'll just read you the first paragraph. Dismissed from his post at a prestigious London hospital, Dr. Henry Talbot has little choice but to accept the mysterious offer of employment as a private physician from an inscrutable lord in rural Wales, Lord Julian. Arriving at Plaus Helg, sorry if I butchered that, the isolated estate, Henry can't speak the language and finds himself treated with hostile suspicion by superstitious villagers whose beliefs in myth and magic he's inclined to dismiss. So we've got the folklore of Wales wrapped in here. We've got a crumbling estate. We've got a mysterious lord and a physician who's been unceremoniously removed from his post. It has everything. It has all of that dark and spooky and the brooding atmosphere and what's going on with this story. So I'm super, super excited. And like I said, the cover is really great on this book as well. The Gothic really does have a lot of beautiful covers for new books that have come out in the past few years. I usually keep my own library for vintage books, but sometimes I buy books just because of the cover art, and this was one of those cases, and it just turned out that the synopsis was just as good as the art on the cover, so I think this book is going to have it all. And the last one that I have in my audiobooks that are full novels, and then I'll get into the short story collections that I've picked out as well, we have The Third Wife of Faraday House by B.R. Myers. And this one I believe was recommended to me by Audible when I downloaded one of the other ones that I just talked about. And so I was really super excited because this one sounds great as well. It says, November 1816. Restless but naive Emmeline Fitzpatrick is desperate to escape her stifling life in foggy Halifax. Her guardian is lining up repugnant suitors, but Emmeline has her eyes set on a handsome lieutenant in the British Army. She just needs to persuade him to propose, or her one chance at happiness will be gone forever. But when Emmeline's hopes end in a scandal, she finds herself with only one suitor left, the wealthy and enigmatic Captain Graves. Having already lost 2 wives to tragic circumstances, the unfortunate widower is seeking a new companion in his cloistered seaside manor, Faraday House. At least that is what Emmeline has been told. In fact, when she arrives at the manor, she is horrified to discover that Georgina, the second Mrs. Graves, has not yet died. So that's all I needed to know. And again, we have a Canadian tie-in here with Emmeline being from Halifax, and she moves to an English estate, and it has very much like a Rebecca sort of feel. So hopefully the Gothic feels are on the same level as Rebecca. That would be fantastic. So just very quickly to wrap up this video, the last audiobooks that I've chosen are short story collections. These are great because, you know, you get the whole story that's condensed down. You can turn it on and turn it off and go back to another story at a different time. So I have 4 short story collections here. Obviously, this is a pile of possibilities. I'm not going to read them all, but I did want to have, number 1, a really good selection. Number 2, you know, like I said, you can kind of turn them on and off, and some of these are a little bit shorter. And number 3, I am going to be off for a full 2 weeks during the holidays, and we're not planning on doing much. Like, I'm not even making like a Yuletide dinner this year, which I usually do. Last year was the first year that we went to a local casino for their buffet, their Christmas buffet, and it was fantastic. So we are doing the same this year, so I don't have to slave over a stove. And so the 4 that I've picked are The Winter Spirits Ghostly Tales for Frosty Nights, The Dead of Winter, The Demons, Witches, and Ghosts of Christmas, The Haunting Season, Ghostly Tales for Long Winter Nights, and Victorian Anthologies Christmas Spirits Volume 1. So all of these very much have those Victorian feels of telling Christmas ghost stories. So that's great, but I love all of the covers on these books as well. It's fantastic. So there you have it. That's all 3 of my mediums, physical, ebooks, and audiobooks that I've picked for my pile of possibilities this year for Dark Yuletide. I hope you guys enjoyed the list. Let me know if you've read any of these and if you've enjoyed them. And of course, let me know what your own Yuletide plans are and your TBRs and all the things. And I will be back. I think I'm going to have to split it into 2. My Yuletide watch list for this year. Now, Matthew does enjoy reading some of my audiobooks with me, but he very much is more on the side of watching Gothic movies. He actually really enjoys those dark, brooding, slow burn ones, especially if it's tied in with some feel good and comedy and all of that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my dark Yuletide list, but then I'm also going to do my feel-good list, the things that we watch kind of over and over every year. And some of these will have a little bit of overlap from last year. Some of the movies I just didn't get to, and some of them, like most of us, we watch every single year. So I hope you guys don't mind a little bit of repetitiveness. The same thing with, you know, this sort of Yuletide pile of possibilities. They all very much have the same feels. They all have to do with haunted houses and Gothic stories and romance and, you know, 19th century England. So that's very, very much what I'm feeling this year for Yuletide. and I hope you've enjoyed this little sneak peek of some of the things that I've done in the library. This was a beast to put together. It took me 9 hours. The instructions were not very good, but it's done now, and it's super, super cozy in here. I absolutely love it. So before the end of the year as well, I will take you on a revised library tour and a revised house tour as well for everything that I've been working on in the past year. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave me a question or a comment down below, because you know I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky, everybody. Bye.